My name is Armintie Herrington. I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My mother moved me and my siblings down to Mississippi when I was in the fourth grade, and I attended Myrtle High School. We played maybe, I guess you could say, behind the house, not really like organized sports. I started playing basketball in the eighth grade. Coach Chris Greer, he was the coach, basketball and track, and he asked me, I think one day, to have a student run and go get something. And mind you, I wear skirts. I come from a Christian home, so that's what we believe girls are attire. And I ran, and he was like, wow, we're gonna start a track team. So we started a track team, and then he was the basketball coach, and he wanted to get in basketball. Well, they had to ask my mom, could I play basketball, because we didn't wear shorts, pants, or anything like that. So him and I believe John Sherman, which was my high school coach at Myrtle, came to my mom's house and asked my mom, could I play basketball? And of course her answer was no. She said, we don't believe women should wear pants or shorts or anything like that. And I was like, Mom, please, please. She was like, no, unless they find something that you can put on that does not show, too much, you can't, you can't perform. Well, I started to run track, and she didn't even know what I wore for track. The track shorts were ridiculous. They were shorter than anything, so got that out the way. And then my home ec teacher, I wish I could remember her name, but she ended up making me a skirt. Actually, the first one she made was like a long dress. And I said, I can't play in this. What if I fall? They don't, And so she made me like a skirt. So she had my shorts and she just put like a flap over it. So the front of it looked like basically like a skirt. And that's what I played in throughout my whole career, playing junior high and high school. And it got to one point, some of the fans were saying it was something magical in my skirt. Like I couldn't wear it, I guess, 'cause I got really good. But I was really, really awful. I had never picked up a ball. I didn't know how to do anything but run and jump. Couldn't shoot. So Coach Greer, he really took me and kind of shaped me and molded me as much as he could to learning how to shoot and just how to run on the court, how to pass and stuff. And so then I got to Coach Sherman, and he really taught me kind of the game of basketball, the competitiveness, how to control myself, how to be a young lady, how to still compete and be a great teammate. So those two men really helped me, and also be a young lady, because my mother moved here and she was separated from my father. So with all my other four siblings, we really didn't have a dad in the home. So they kind of took the rough side of me as well, because they were like a father to me. So do this, do that, no, or do this, do that, no, so I apologize now to them, because I know I wasn't the best, but I love them to death, and they really helped shape me and mold my career, because if Coach Greer didn't see that in me, I wouldn't be playing. I didn't have it in me. My grandmother played basketball, my grandmother Armintie, but other than that, my life was just strictly on God and church, Christ, and things like that I appreciate and still have in my family today. But once I got into sports, my family really got behind me and involved, and that was great to see too. Even though it was all coming in their skirts and stuff, it was still good. Everybody knew the family coming in, and really gave them something else to look forward to outside of church, and I think allowed them to understand that I can still serve Christ and be an athlete, as long as I was carrying myself in the right way. So eighth grade. It was the first time I ever played in my life. Outside of me playing in the backyard with some of my friends, I didn't know what I was doing back there. And then we had a guy, his name was Donnie Rutherford. He actually lived, because we lived in Plant, Mississippi, not far from Mississippi. We lived on this dirt road, and this guy we went to church with named Donnie Rutherford, he had a actual like basketball goal, a little dirt. We would let us kind of walk down to his house, kind of start roughing us up and playing. So I got a little bit of my roughness because I was the only girl out there from him. And usually after church Sundays or sometime throughout the week, she'll let us go and play. But the first time organized sports was at Myrtle. But the rest of the time it was in our backyard where we have a goal. I think we had like some type of milk carton something that we used. But when we used to travel down the road, he actually had a basketball goal that we was able to play and let's say hoop on.
Do you remember the first time that you played, like your first game?
Mm-hmm.
What was that like when you went out?
I guess fearful. not because I didn't know what I was doing. I knew how to be rough. I knew how to run. I knew how to jump. God, it really gave me some great abilities. But I knew I wasn't as good as everybody else. Most of everybody was going to camps. They were well prepared. I was just being an athlete and going. And Coach Grill, oh, just go pass, just go. My first couple of years, I was very nervous. The crowd didn't really bother me. Once I got in the game, I was focused on winning. My dad used to tell us all the time, prices don't lose. So that's all my focus was. I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I was a sore loser. I did not take losing well. When I got home, I really didn't talk to my mom about sports because she didn't care about sports. So I just upset, talk to my friends. I remember my teammates, Kelly, Brittany, Sheena, our point guard, Monica, Latiz, Priscilla. I mean, we had a squad. And it was just, it's amazing. We was able to win a championship and just the things we was able to do in Myrtle. I played with some good young ladies. So I miss them to this day. So yeah. Coach Sherman started talking to me about scholarships maybe my junior year, going into at Myrtle, I think. And I remember I started to get scholarships first from track. Mississippi State, some other schools started hitting me up. And so I was like, oh, okay, wow. Well, then Coach Sherman would hit me up about, hey, you got opportunities, playing basketball. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, your mom wants to pay for school. I said, oh, I'm going. I mean, my mom was a hard worker. She worked at McDonald's here in town and trying to raise 5 children. I did not want her to have to find a way to pay for me to go to college. I didn't even think about college, during that time. I never thought about it. I was the first one in my family to actually go to college, graduate. So I didn't really think about it. But I was just so blessed with the opportunity, like I said, to come across Coach Sherman and Coach Greer, and for them to just embrace me, for the school to embrace me and my family. I was very happy for the opportunity. But Coach John Sherman did a good job of really kind of putting my film out there and trying to get me a scholarship. And Ole Miss track and Mississippi State track were recruiting me. But I think he wanted to see if Mississippi State wanted me in basketball as well. So I told him I would talk to him to kind of see. I'm not going to mention the coach's name, but so I spoke to the lady coach about maybe having an opportunity to play basketball, and she made mention along the lines that she didn't think my game would translate to the next level. So of course I took that personal, and I actually chose Ole Miss, and actually was the best decision for me. I had other opportunities. I had a scholarship at Duke, other different schools, Appalachian State for basketball, I think, Gardner-Webb. I almost went to Troy, actually. Coach Joni Taylor, she was the assistant coach at Troy. Now she's the head coach at Texas A&M, was the head coach at Georgia, but just got the Texas A&M job. She was an assistant, and I almost went to Troy now that I think about it. And she tell everybody I was her first recruit that broke her heart, but I needed to stay close to home. So had the opportunity to go to Ole Miss. Kim Roseman recruited me, did a great job. She actually recruited as well Jada Mincy, who I played against at Briarcrest when I played against her at Myrtle. Ashley Alker I met at Adidas that summer. She actually went to Ole Miss as well. So I had 2 other people that I knew that went to Ole Miss. So great experience at Ole Miss. Would not change it for nothing in the world, especially with my mom getting ill. It was the best place for me to be. And every time I had the opportunity to beat up on Mississippi State, I took it personal.
How many times did you get to beat Mississippi State while you played?
So we played them in basketball twice every season. We always split. My senior year at Ole Miss, we needed to beat them. We played them at Starkville, and we needed that game to go to the tournament. So we beat them at Starkville. It was the greatest feeling ever. I love competition. I do. I like Mississippi State. But when you go to Ole Miss or Mississippi State, there's a rival. And then you have to pick a side. Of course, I'm on the red and blue side. So I love going to games. Actually, let's see, Tyree Phillips, he goes to one of our churches that we fellowship with. He played football at Mississippi State. He now plays for the Baltimore Ravens. Me and him are great friends, but he is not going to get my son to shake a cowbell ever. It's not happening, okay? So, hey, my sister-in-law went to Mississippi State, got her doctorate. My husband tried to go, but we needed to keep the house together, so he got his doctorate at Ole Miss.
Well, did you end up running track at Ole Miss?
I did not. Once I got to Ole Miss, basketball was all I could do. That sport, when you're playing in the SEC at the highest level, it can be a lot. Now, as I think about it, I wish I would have did long jump. I was pretty good at long jump, even though I did a lot of other events. I think long jump I could have really went pretty far in it. But basketball was too much. I fell out my first couple of weeks at in training camp because it was so difficult. I wasn't used to it. So I was glad that I chose basketball. But if I could go back, I might do long jump as well. My time at Ole Miss was great. Besides when it got started, Kim Roseman at Recruitment, when I got to Ole Miss, they got fired. Carol Ross from Oakland, Mississippi, she actually played at Ole Miss for Van Chancellor. She was the head coach. She became the head coach. Jennifer Gillum, her sister Peggy Gillum, they both played at Ole Miss. They call them the Gillum sisters. Her sister Peggy Gillum became one of the coaches as well. And Renee Ladner, she played point guard at Ole Miss. She became my position coach. Me and her butted heads all the time. I love her. And then Joycelyn McGilberry, Coach Ross coached her at Auburn. She became one of the assistants. So we had an all-women squad, which was great, but kind of probably crazy at the same time. And Coach Ross came in with a mindset of, I'm here to turn the program back around, and then I'm out. And that's exactly what she did. She really took me under her wings. That first year gave everybody an opportunity to learn your spot, to learn the game. And I actually got an opportunity to start and had a great career, but very, very tough. She said a couple times I was like a deer in headlights. But became freshman of the year, my first year, which hadn't been done in a long time. And continued to get better. My first year we went to the tournament. Second year we went to the tournament. My third year we went to the WNIT. And it was crazy because Coach Ross had said I would never coach in the WNIT. We're never going. But our third year we went and did pretty good. We won the first two games and then got knocked out. And then my last year we made it to the Elite Eight. And that was the farthest Ole Miss had been, was the Elite Eight. I don't know how many years ago. So the next step really for Ole Miss is now they're trying to get to the Final Four. But we was the last 8 teams in. Ended up losing to Pat Summitt and Candace Parker, and they ended up winning the championship. So yeah. I didn't really shoot for it. It kind of hit me. Coach Ross let me know, I think it was the end of my junior year, that some teams was asking about me, and I couldn't believe it. You know, a girl from Mississippi, went to a 1A school, Myrtle. I hadn't heard of it. So, you know, when you hadn't heard of anything, you're like, this can't be possible. I couldn't even run or jump or shoot good enough to do anything going into my 8th grade. But God really opened that door for me, and she said, you just keep on working. You know, I don't even know if I watched any WNBA games. I was really just focused on making my mom proud, her not having a college bill, and me just making sure I'm getting my books. So that was the most important thing. But going into my senior year, my mom ended up getting ovarian cancer, and she ended up passing away. And so that last year I really dedicated to her and to really continuing to serve God. She really opened the door that I didn't have to wear my skirt into college, you know, which was something that I was hoping I didn't have to do. I was like, Mom, can I please look like everybody else? I'm not going to change my faith. I'm not going to stop loving God. And she said, you know what? You've proven to me that you're going to stay on the right track. Yes. So throughout Ole Miss, I didn't have to wear my skirt. I don't even know if I still have it. I haven't seen it in a while. But going into that senior year, I really dedicated my life to making sure that I was upholding the standards that I was raised to, and just continue to put Ole Miss on the map. I was so focused on making sure my coaches, since they had played at Ole Miss, making sure they looked good, and then just making sure that Ole Miss was back on top. And we did just that. I mean, the community supported us. I ended up getting drafted. I was 3rd pick in the 1st round, which is unheard of. My roommate, Lindsay Harding, that played at Duke, which I had some type of little, she my friend now, so she don't mind if I say this. I had some type of little beef with her because I was a defensive player. At Ole Miss, I was 2-time defensive player of the year. It was the first, I think, or second in the SEC that ever done that. And so I'm thinking, well, I didn't know they had the award, but my friend Lindsay Harding that was at Duke, she was the national defensive player of the year in the country. And I was, what? Well, then all of a sudden, she's my roommate at the draft. Now, we didn't know each other, so I'm like, this is the girl right here that I got this. But she ended up being really cool. Then she was the first pick. So I'm like, wow. So she got picked. I don't know where she got picked. She was first pick. Then Jessica Davenport from Ohio State was the second pick. Then they called my name, Armintie Price. And I could cry. That's how excited I was. And Coach Ross was at the table with me. And my words, literally, you could type it up on YouTube. It was like, oh me, oh my. Like, you could literally see me saying that. And I was just so grateful for the opportunity. And so now I'm thinking my goal, which was just a silent goal, because, you tell too many people things, they'll shoot it down before you even get it out. I know my boyfriend at the time, Reginald, which is my husband now, I told him and told my coach that I wanted to be Rookie of the Year. And of course, people are thinking, first pick, they usually be Rookie of the Year. I'm like, this is my way to beat Lindsey Harding, because, again, she was the national defense. That was mine. That's how I felt. That was mine. So we played throughout the season, and I just worked, man. I got drafted to Chicago Sky, not far from my family in Milwaukee. And I just really worked to be great every day. I was looking at the stats. I was looking at the standings. And I ended up getting it. And again, God had just opened so many doors. And I'm like, there's no way, like, a small girl from me, wasn't from here, moved here to Mississippi. Myrtle attended center, little resources. So you don't need much, obviously. Just need to work hard. And then I get to Ole Miss, do all I can at Ole Miss, finish with a degree. I got my master's at Ole Miss. And now, I'm Rookie of the Year. So I'm just like, God, you're so amazing. You never left me. You never failed me. And he's still there with me now. And I'm so grateful for the journey he has been taking me on. Even with losing my mom, you're going to go through something in life. And you're going to have to get back up. We all going to go through something. Me and my husband talk about that all the time. We're all, if it's a physical ailment, if it's our family, my goodness, COVID, that hits so many people. But you got to get back up. You got to find a way to get back up. So I didn't let my circumstance of even my mom raising all of us working at McDonald's. She worked here in New Albany at McDonald's, raising 5 children. Sometimes we didn't have food. Sometimes we didn't have light. We didn't let nobody know, because you just don't. You just don't. You learn how to make it. She taught us how to make it off little. And, even when she passed, she never gave up on Christ. She never blamed Christ for anything. It was always like, God has a plan. He'll never fail you. Have a relationship with Christ. Trust in God. And so I was built on that. And now I'm building my family. My husband, he was raised the same way I was raised. So, God, he's never failed me. No matter what I've been through, my life has not been perfect. I am not perfect. I've made mistakes. But God is still forgiving me and continuing to build me up and helping me to help other people come to Christ. Myrtle, they had air. I'm pretty sure they had air, but they may not have had air. It was so crowded in them gyms. It was so hot. They would come out. My junior and senior year, we were the talk of the town. It wasn't New Albany. It may have been with my friend Ellen. Ellen Buchanan was a superstar. She ended up playing with me at Ole Miss. But we were the talk of the town. Everybody would be there for the girls' games. Nowadays, if the girls are not good, they come straggling in, getting ready for the boys' game. But they would come out and support us. When we went to state my last 2 years, they were there with signs. My family was there with signs. Everybody wanted to see us succeed and be successful. And they understood the hard work you put in. Like, Union County, Myrtle, we are a family sports town. When you go play East Union, West Union, Ingomar, like, it's all about Friday night or Thursday night, whatever night they play on. Wednesday night is for Christ. They know that. They understand that. But we really come together as a sports town and support. I mean, a lot of them came to my Ole Miss games. Even when I was coaching at Ole Miss, they would bring Myrtle to the games. How sweet is that? They would bring Myrtle players to camp. Like, they were still supporting me, and I really, really appreciated that, because, again, I wasn't born here, but I was raised in Mississippi. I'm a Mississippi girl. I mean, people tell my time what school you went to. I went to Myrtle. I'm not hiding. I went to Myrtle because I beat a lot of y'all tails on the court. So I went to Myrtle, So I really embraced my experience. I embrace coming from a small 1A school. I embrace coming from Mississippi. A lot of people don't. But that has helped shape me and mold me to who I am today, and appreciate so many things. And I don't like a lot of traffic. I love peace. I love grass. I love animals. So that's why I'm here still in Mississippi. But I knew that people were watching me because I claimed Christ, and because I was the new girl in town. And really my teammates, Kelly Yates, Brittany Robbins, Latisse Spencer, Monica Pickens, Priscilla Berry. Like, they really helped keep me in a safe place, you know, because, like, before games, like, I would get to go over Brittany's house and eat with her folks, or Kelly house, and they would feed us. They were like family. You know, when you get into sports, they are your family. A lot of people, sometimes they get into sororities and different things, and I've been asked when I was in school to get, but basketball was the only family I needed, you know, and so I still love them. I wish we can all have a reunion, man, and just get together, because they were some great team. They helped me look really good. They helped me become who I am today. If I didn't pass them and they didn't make the three, I didn't get the assist. If they didn't shoot it and I didn't get the rebound, I didn't get it. I didn't do a lot of scoring like that in basketball. Like, I ran, jumped, got layup. They the one was shooting the Steph Curry threes. They were one was really putting lights out. But they really, it was no jealousy. It was all love, you know. And still to this day, like, they continue to love me. We continue to support each other. And I was on Instagram, but I took a break. But I see, like, Kelly family on Instagram, Brittany family. I'm just like, wow. First of all, I'm thinking I waited too late, because you guys kids are like in junior high now, and mine are babies. But I just love me and Latisse. Her last name is Nugent now, but me and her still hang out now to this day. But I play with some great young ladies, and you know, I know it's probably tough playing on a team when you're not the one that people are always talking about, you know. But I think I did a great job of not having a big head too, because I think sometimes they can make it worse. But just really appreciating them. Sheena was our point guard now. I think she's the cross country coach at Myrtle. She's still at Myrtle, but what a great, soft spirited young lady she is, with a great family. But I could not deal without them. Could not do it. Coach Greer, he just announced his retirement, and he called me and wanted me to come and speak, and I just really wanted to come, and I spoke, and I love him so much. I put the players, and like I said, I understand it now because I've been a coach. You put these coaches through a lot. They sacrifice away from their families, sometimes not eating, stress because they have to win, and we don't appreciate them enough. And I appreciate Coach Greer. That's why I had to come back. I told me and my family, my husband, I said, babe, we got to go back. You know, so many times he helped feed me. They didn't understand what I was going through. So when they would feed us after a game, that meant a lot for me, because I may not was able to eat when I got home, you know. So they really helped take me in and discipline me when I needed to be disciplined. I didn't want to. You know, again, somebody that didn't have a father in the home, I needed discipline. But if the event just going back, and I seen a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a long time, and I was just so appreciative to go in the building and see my jersey still hung up, you know. I just give God all the glory. I'm so grateful for where he's brought me from and the journey he's taken me on, because I could have went a different way. I could have chose to allow me coming from a single family home and my mom passing for me to go out in the streets and do something different, but instead I chose to still try to stay on the straight path. So I'm very, very grateful. I'm number 4.
You're number 4.
So I have an older sister, Donna, older brother, Ricky. Donna's in Nashville. Ricky's in Milwaukee still. He's a firefighter. My sister Donna's a nurse. My sister Chrissy's in the Army. She's been retired. I think she's like at 22 years. And then there's me. And then my younger brother Freddie just finished up in the Marines. Yeah. So God has blessed us even through what we've been through to stay grounded and live, you know, and continue to do great things in our life. And we still connected. And we still love each other. You know, we understand what we've been through, but we're each other's rock. So, and they all went to Myrtle. They all probably didn't graduate from Myrtle, because my oldest brother, he was there for a couple years, then he moved back to Milwaukee. My sister Chrissy, that's in the Army, she graduated, but she didn't even get her degree. She just went straight to the Army, which was surprising because she's really girly, so we couldn't believe it. My oldest sister Donna, she did graduate from Myrtle, and I graduated. And then my brother Freddie, I don't think he finished. He ended up getting his GED. So we Myrtle through and through. We're Myrtle.
Does anybody still live in Myrtle of your family?
No. We, like I said, we stayed in Compline, Mississippi, so we didn't necessarily live. Yeah. We caught the bus, and it led us that way.
How long was the bus ride from Cotton Plant to Myrtle?
Oh my goodness, long enough to get a nap. It was pretty long. Maybe 25 minutes maybe, 25, 30 minutes. It was a good long while.
I didn't realize that cotton plant kids went to Myrtle.
Yeah, we had my bus driver was Mr. Owens. He passed away. It was too Mr. Davis. I know a lot of people know him. He was our architecture teacher. Really buff guy. He actually lived not too far from where I lived. So he would drive the bus too at times. But he was like over like the farming, and I remember I think he gave me my first paddling and my last with a skirt on. It was very painful, but I deserved it. But he was like my neighbor in that town too we was in. So he drove the bus a lot. He would just come right there to get me and go home. But his name was, I think it was Johnny Davis. I think that was his first name. But they still live there. When you go like going towards my road in Complant, he has a farm. It said like Davis Farm or something like that. So I played 9 seasons in the WNBA. It irks me because I should have did 10. But it was my decision. I told the Washington Mystics that was the last team I played with. So I was with Chicago for I think 4.5 seasons. Chicago Sky, the team that drafted me. Then I got traded to Atlanta Dream, which is great because I was back in the South. And Coach Carol Ross, my college coach, was the assistant coach for Atlanta. So that was like heaven. So then I was there for a couple seasons. Then Coach Ross became the head coach for the Los Angeles Sparks. So she coached there for a season. She was like coach of the year. Then the next season she was like, won't you come? I said, me to LA? Oh, Mississippi got it. I didn't even care. I was like, I'm coming. I got to be on Rodeo Drive. I done seen Pretty Woman. I got to go out there and see the hotel. That was the best experience. I think everybody from Mississippi, everybody in Mississippi has to get out, first of all. You got to get out and travel and see the world. I've been out and traveled, and I've come back. It was good to travel. It's great to be back. But I loved LA to be on. I stayed in Marina Del Rey, not far from Venice Beach, walked on Rodeo Drive just to be like, wow. Again, God, this is amazing. You've allowed me to travel all across the world. And then I finished with the Washington Mystics. I was supposed to finish 2 seasons with them to make number 10, but I couldn't do it. I was ready to come home. I was ready to start a family, which you can start a family and play. But I was ready to get back with my life in Christ. I was traveling so much. Like it was just so difficult for me. Felt like I was giving everything that God was giving me, but I needed to be poured back into it. So I had to get back home. I had to get back to my church. But I enjoyed it, and I played in Russia, Spain, Israel, and Turkey as well overseas. So when you finish your WNBA season, you go overseas for like 6-7 months. Unbearable, but that's what we have to do, you know.
You're required.
Not required, but financially, because we're not making millions and millions of dollars like the men, and we don't play as many games as they play to make that money. We play maybe 5 months. So when you get done with your season, you got to go and continue to just make some more money. Now, you don't have to. Some people, they can stay home, finances, and do well and do whatever. But if you want to keep it going, not spend all you made in that WNBA season, you go and play.
That just keeps it makes you have a more normal salary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But now the good thing about the WNBA, they just got a new deal. Like the girls now are making pretty good money, so they don't really have to go overseas if they don't want to. And a lot of them stay back with some of their WNBA teams, do a lot of community work. So it's been really, really beneficial. I mean, I think the WNBA just finished maybe season 25 or something like that. It's in the 20s, yeah. The NBA just finished season 75. So a lot of people don't understand, okay, we're really just in it. They've been 75 seasons they just finished, so yeah. Wow. I mean, Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, Tina Thompson, Rebecca Lobo, like they just did a 30 for 30 for the USA team on TV. They started all this for us.
They were like Olympic people too.
Yes,
I remember the Cheryl. I remember that name.
Yeah, they were all on the Olympic team, and they was able to start the WNBA from them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's how it got started. That team.
Yep.
What?
So they had like the Charlotte Sting. They had teams that they don't even have now in the league. Houston Comets. They won 4 championships in the WNBA. They don't even have that Houston team no more. So they was able to get it started for us. It's an amazing story on 30 for 30. Donna Staley. Now Donna Staley's coaching for South Carolina. She played in the league. And a lot of great players helped get it started for us. Nikki McCray, who she played in WNBA, coached at Mississippi State for a season, coached with Donna Staley at South Carolina. Yep. Rebecca Lobo, she was played at UConn, played league. Now she's doing TV. So a lot of them got it started for us. So I was grateful to get 9 seasons and really grateful to go to LA. God is, and then I played in Spain. I was on the island of Mallorca. You can only get on and off by the plane. Like, it was beautiful. Fruit right there, oranges right there. It was so beautiful. But then it's like you have to do all this traveling and playing, and your family really not able to enjoy. So I'm like, I gotta do something else. I gotta find something else to get into. So then after I got married in 2009 to Reginald, I turned into coaching because I didn't want to keep going overseas. I said, I can't keep doing this. So Renee Ladner, who's my position coach, at that time, she was the head coach at Ole Miss, because Coach Ross, after she finished up, she was like, that's it. So Coach Ladner gave me my first opportunity as coaching, and that was very, very difficult for me, because at the time, those players, they just wanted you to give them everything. And I didn't grow up like that. We had to work. And now you have to give them shoes. They want this. I'm like, y'all didn't even win it. Whoa. So it was tough. So those first, I think, 3 seasons I coached, I took a break. Now I was still playing. So I was coaching in off season from like September, October, all the way to about maybe April. And then I would go back and play in WNBA. So that's how I was doing it. Instead of the overseas money, I was doing it. So I was able to now grow. Okay, man, you're going to eventually stop playing. You got to start marketing yourself now. So I was like, okay, I got to start transitioning. So I did that for 3 seasons. I said, I can't do this. I can't. These children, they on a whole different level. So Coach Ross kept telling me, man, you're born to coach. You're going to get back out as a coach. I can't. So I took a break. And then I got ready to retire from the WNBA. I think this was in 2015, or 16, I think 15. And so Matt Insel was the head coach at Ole Miss, and I would come back to the games. He said, man, when you retire, you need to come on back. I'm like, okay, well, let me think about that, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was like, okay. So he brought me back, and I was player of engagement. So I couldn't coach him, but I was able to take him to community service. I was able to be a mentor to him. I brought in guest speakers, made sure they went to class, stuff like that. So that was my role at Ole Miss at the time. And it was irking me. Now I'm in practice. I'm like, man, she needs to do this. Yeah. And so when I met with him, I couldn't talk about basketball because that wasn't my role. So I had to talk about what I had to talk about. So I said, man. So then Coach Matt kept telling me, I'm like, I'm going to have to get you back in the coaching role. Everybody was like, you need to be coaching. Well, he gets fired. I get pregnant. So after I have my son Prince, I'm basically like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be working because they're going to bring a new coach in. But I just came back from leave, too. I took 6 weeks leave. It was in the month of April. Then they bring in Coach Yo. And so she comes in and meets with me. And she had cleaned house. And I was like, Lord, I don't know what's going to happen. She's going to keep me. Am I going to be the only one to stay? And she had me do some errands. She had me go recruiting. And then when I came back from recruiting, she said, I didn't know you coached before. I said, yeah, I coached a little bit. I said, she said, what'd you think back then? I said, it was tough. You know, them kids, they were different. I said, but I think I'm ready to give it another shot if you have opportunity. If not, I'll stay in my role of player engagement. And so she said, I think we got a spot for you. So I was like, signed the contract, and I left, and I about jumped to the ceiling. I was like, yes, okay, I'm back now. Let's go. Let's give this thing another chance. So I got with Coach Yo, and I just finished my 4th season with her, and had a little girl, Armintie, and really felt like it was time for me to take a break. Now, man, you've been traveling, you got married, you done had 2 kids, like you just going. How about you just take a break? How about you invest now in your family, invest in your husband? He's a principal. Give him time to maybe do some stuff in his career, and you sit back and be a mom. And you get involved in your church and be an influence there in your community. And so I was at peace with that. And I'm so happy to be home. I'm grateful. You know, God can bless you with all this stuff, but if you don't sit down and enjoy it and breathe, life happens so fast. I can't tell you how many family reunions I missed, how many funerals I wasn't able to go to, how many birthdays. But now I'm able to just, wow, let me sit back and see the blessings of God. Let me sit back and enjoy. So I'm not saying it's goodbye though, Miss. I'm pretty sure I'll be back. But right now, I have to sit back and just give myself a break. For like 19 years, I've just been going. So I'm in a good place now.
So you think you'll go back?
I do. I do. I love Ole Miss through and through. Like I said, I was blessed to get my master's there. When I was player of engagement for Matt Insel, he allowed me to go back and go to school. Again, I'm always in my mind thinking of what is next step. What is next step? And I've always wanted to teach. When I was at Myrtle, my teacher, Miss Julie, in the fourth grade, really helped me get on the right track, and I wanted to really give back. And I was like, man, one day I want to teach. So that's why basketball threw me off, because I'm like, I want to be in education. So I got my master's in the education field at Ole Miss so that I can go back and teach. Now I don't even want to do the high school level, or I want to do college level. So I'm really looking to do some things in that, just switch it up a little bit, you know. So I'm excited about that. But I ain't gonna never say completely bye to Ole Miss. I think one day I'll be back. It was so tough to pay the bills and then just have enough. Every time we eat dinner, she made sure we ate first. And so I've learned that. Like, my husband be like, are you hungry? I said, well, let them eat first and then I'll eat. But it was tough. I watched her struggle. Even though she didn't want to say it, like, I watched her struggle. But she really helped us just value life, not really value things much. I can care less if something happened to my stuff, just as long as my children are all right and I'm all right. I remember one time we was home and I dropped the camera and I was so mad. She was like, man, it's just a camera. And I was like, wow. Ever since then I just changed. Like, if something happened, like, babe, it's okay. You know, he'd be like, oh, somebody hit this. Well, we gotta get it fixed. Oh, yeah. You know, so just really changed my thought about a lot of stuff in life. I watched another 30 for 30 with Venus Williams. I don't know if you watched it with
I haven't
tennis.
yet.
She helped get the equal pay for the men. But it started with, is it Billie King? What's the lady name? Is her name Billie King? So she was like Venus's mentor and would let her know about the equal pay. And then when Venus would win, they would see how much the men were making, how much they were making. So at the time, Venus was really hot. She was winning and everything. So she spoke up and had a voice for everybody. And it changed, but it took some time. But I was just like, wow. And then the men, of course, was like, well, why do they have to make as much as us? They're not doing this, or they're not playing as many sets. So they start changing stuff to make it be like, okay, so now we're doing this, now we're doing that. Well, we have as many fans as you guys. Let's just sell the tickets as much as y'all sell, you know. So it was a great story. I mean, I don't know if it'll ever be where it needs to be, but if women keep fighting, change is going to continue to come. And we got to keep fighting. Even in the political arena, like, we're stepping up, we're saying things, we're becoming knowledgeable about different things. And I think too, the more men appreciate, if it's their mother, their aunt, children, nieces, they will give us opportunities. I think you have to have somebody in that space where you can appreciate them to be like, yeah, why not? Because the more NBA players are having daughters, they're bringing them to WNBA games. They're having a voice. Yeah, they need to do. But if you don't have nobody growing up that you can kind of pull on, or be that aunt that helped raise you, or that you don't really appreciate women. You don't really think we can do nothing but cook and clean, you know? So I think the more men and people in this world value women, value our sacrifices, how we're able to work, be a mother, nurse, cook, clean, take this on the soccer practice, and still have our peace of mind, I mean, I think the world will be a better place. And rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. He was really starting to be that advocate, you know, for our game and his daughter. And hopefully some other NBA players will step up where he kind of left off, because he was really changing the game. I mean, with his daughter's team, and just really getting involved. And you could tell he really started to have a heart for it and a love for it. You can really tell when people are real or not. You really can. And so the more they continue to support us, and, you know, the more we continue to speak out. We have to speak out, you know. You know, we can't just be okay with making the little money we can. We can be doing something bigger. We got to understand our values. So it's gonna happen. I think LeBron is really trying to step out and do it. He does so much. People understand. He now got his school. He's trying to build a community now. But he's really stepping out and trying to be a voice for the sports. I think I've heard Damian Lillard say some things about the game. Carmelo Anthony has stepped out. A lot of them now are stepping up because of Brittany Griner's situation, the young lady that's still in Russia too. So that's
what
been
is
very
even
tough.
going on with that? I don't know.
I know she's still in Russia. She's still being detained. I think she was supposed to have a court date recently, but it got pushed now to like July. And it's been over 100 days that she's been detained in that prison. It's very, very tough. And now the NBA and WNBA is really coming together. I was telling one of my former friends that played at Tennessee, I was like, man, when somebody's being shot and stuff like that, or people are marching and stuff, I said they may need to start doing something for that for Britain. Well, then they was gonna have a march in New York, but I think a shooting actually happened today in New York with some athletes. Yeah, it's been really tough because you want to speak out, well then you have stuff like that, and it kind of keeps you in. But the NBA and WNBA is really coming together to do as much as they can to try to get her to come home, and that makes it tough for WNBA players because now you like, when the season's over, do I want to go overseas and play? I don't want to take that risk to go. So it's tough. I've been praying for it because if that was my daughter, if that was my sister, my niece, you would, we have to put ourselves in other people's shoes in order to show compassion, and, because I know that's pretty tough. Even for her wife, I know that's pretty tough for them.
As our government not doing?
I think they doing as much as they can. I know I heard that the Russian president or whoever the guy is, he had asked for a prisoner that we had. So then when that happened, I think it was like, wait a minute, because we ain't. Oh, the United States is not doing that. They're not. I'm not going to give you a killer for a WNBA player.
Right.
So that, I think, made it tough for Joe Biden. Like, okay, we got to think this thing through. Now, I know the last American prisoner they had, he was over there for 3 years. And they just released him. And I think it was another one that was over there for a while. So, I mean, everybody's hopeful, but it's really, I think it's out of our control. I don't know how much control Biden really has. So we're just kind of praying, that she stays safe and that her mind is okay, because there's no telling what she's going through. Just think, this time last year, she didn't imagine that she was going to be in a Russian prison, so it's pretty sad.